Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
When does the drama stop? Never in politics.
Listen, I tell people that Real Housewives of any season or any area would not last a week in our world.
It really is like high school drama. But what's really funny to me is the observation of watching the men actually melt down like girls used to do in ninth grade.
Oh, right. We're going to get to that. And it's all over the hottest story in North Carolina right now. And it happens to be the maps, which the Senate approved today. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been talking about this for months. I've been telling you it's coming. I knew when I saw that lawsuit in Texas, when it started popping up, and Texas was going to just do what they wanted to do. And then we knew that there were going to be some Supreme Court hearings that have been combined. And now we're in the throes of it. And I just have to say, hats off to Ralph Heiss, who did his speech, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the upshot of this is Don Davis will not be able to win. It'll be that district, which he won in by a little over 1.5%, will go.
By the way, we're talking about this map. So if you guys are looking here, it's the top purple. Right?
On the coastline.
Okay, so this has been redrawn, and look how much bigger it is and how much smaller 3 is when you're looking at the top map, yellow, okay? And it could put Greg Murphy, who's currently in 3. It puts him at 1 as to where he lives.
No, he has a house in District 1. He can choose. He has the right, because as a running for Congress, you don't have to live in your district for the first 6 months until 6 months after you win.
Okay, so he's already living in 1.
He lives in 3.
He lives in 3 now. Okay, in Pitt County. That's right. He lives in 3. And will he run? Here's a question. Will he run in 3? Or will he run against Don Davis? That's very important because there are 2 incumbent congressmen. What do you think?
He's going to run in 1. And I'll tell you why he's going to run in 1. It's going to be a plus Republican 11. The spread will be plus 11 points. That's an easy layup for him when you look at Don Davis, who barely won by like a little over 1.5%. Like, this was a tight race the way that district was drawn prior. If I had $22 million laying around and I knew I was in a plus 11, I'd get my rear end up there and I'd run. Because I can win.
Bobby Hanick, who's a friend of ours, who's running in District 1 as a Republican, right? He's probably not had some good nights, right, in the last couple weeks.
Bobby Hanick needs to raise some money. And until he can, this is dangerous because I'm telling you, I believe this is the Burger vendetta. There's no love lost between Bobby Hanick and Phil Berger, the pro tem of the Senate and North Carolina Senate. And I think that this is the beginning of what believes to be the end of him, the revenge tour Berger, because it's not just Bobby Hanick that's going to get caught up in this. It's going to be the mayor of Rocky Mount, who's also running and has his own issues in his city.
Randy Robertson, who I believe is still the employer of Alan Chesser, who is the Nash County Republican representative.
Yes.
And I believe it's a big donor and a big friend of Phil Berger's. Yeah.
And I think the other part of this revenge tour is, in the GOP part of it, the districts all have district chairs, and the NC3 district chair, Michelle Nix, not a friend of mine by any means, will lose her seat because she lives in Carteret County, and it will be moved over, and she will then lose her power, which no love lost for me on that. None. But it won't be for her because Phil Berger doesn't like her either. This is my supposition. I would say his revenge tour is kicking in because her district censured him recently, and I don't think that Senator Berger took that too well.
Now,
obviously.
Tonight we want to roll out a new word. It's called hyperbolate.
We're going to hyperbolate.
We're going to hyperbolate on it. It is a combination of a hypothesis and pontificating. Wait a minute. No, prognosticating. Okay. No, it's part hypothesis and then part prognosticating. Right. So we're doing that tonight on this race and what's going on. But let's face it, y'all come here for hyperbolating.
Listen, I'm all in on this. I told you it was going to happen. I love the fact that they were blatant and honest. I hope you play that clip soon of Ralph Tice just really blatantly saying exactly what they're doing. And they have the plenary authority to do it.
So, people accuse Tice of saying the silent part out loud. He's been saying this for a while.
The motivation behind this redraw is simple and singular. Draw a new map that will bring an additional Republican seat to the North Carolina congressional delegation. Republicans hold a razor-thin margin in the United States House of Representatives. And if Democrats flip 4 seats in the upcoming midterm elections, they will take control of the House and torpedo President Trump's agenda.
We can't, and he followed up by saying, we ain't gonna have that around here, son.
He actually brings the whole California, Texas argument in. If Gavin Newsom wants to redistrict California and Texas did their thing, we're going to help Texas and Trump. And it's going to help the U.S. It's going to keep the economy going. It's going to keep Trump from being impeached. It's going to keep North Carolina.
Right there. We see, and we're going to show you tonight, we're exclusively going off on Democrats tonight. Democrats are not fit to lead for a panoply of reasons, a cornucopia, if you will, of reasons. And we're going to elucidate some of that this very evening.
Right. I think the other thing that is quite clear is finally, and I'm just going to say it as plainly as possible, they got a backbone and they're going to show these people in this state, we are a red state instead of this purple garbage from Tom Tillis and some of these professors at Western Carolina University. We are not a purple state. We're going to be a red state for a long time to come.
Well, we need to be, because what we're going to show you tonight, guys, I'm making the case, not by cherry picking stuff, by opening our eyes and seeing what's going on in the news, what's going on. Now, the No King Blue Hairs were really pissed yesterday. They were out in force inside of the legislature. Let me show you a slice of what they had to say about all this in the gallery during this debate. Ready?
Racist reps! Racist reps! Make racist reps!
Racist? Oh, interesting.
Racist reps! Racist reps! Make racist reps! Racist reps! Make racist reps! Racist reps!
I'm just saying, let me tell you what, for the gentlemen watching the show, how would y'all like to be married to someone like that, just screaming, hollering, and angry?
Listen, I think it's hilarious that they're calling them racist maps, when the fact you draw any map along racial divides or lines means you're the racist. Every time we've gone to court over this, this community, that community, it shouldn't matter about community. Votes don't have a color, and attaching people to the vote is a racist idea.
Well, there's been a lot of that. Remember when if you drank white milk, you were racist? I mean,
oh yeah.
Everything has been called racist to where when there's real racism, and you better believe there still is in this country, it has no meaning. And so we're going to hear a lot of that. But if you think that that's shrill, I'm about to show you the leader of the Democrat Party here in North Carolina. And I really do hope they take this on the road, because I've always heard this in business, and I've heard it in politics too. Male voters in particular. They think if they think of their, who's talking to them, rightly or wrongly, as like their mother-in-law or their judging mother or whatever, they're going to tune that out. Listen to Anderson Clayton, who's the leader of the Democrat Party.
Yeah, don't give her to us. She is not us.
Never. We have our own problems here.
We do, but ours is in a crazy.
Yeah, I know.
This state, and you told the state
Okay.
Supreme Court that you were watching their every move, and Justice Allison Riggs' race was certified, everybody. Thanks to a Trump-appointed federal judge, might I add, right?
Okay, so that no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear that.
I can't understand what she's saying.
In North Carolina have decided that they're above the people of this state, and instead choose to draw their own maps instead of letting the voters pick their politicians, right? And so we're here today because we know that we may not have the ability to stop the Republican.
Okay, I mean,
admission.
You just cannot now. There was another young man who spoke at this hearing, and he literally channeled a black pastor. I thought it was kind of crazy. So I'm going to put this up. Here's what he had to say.
They're wasting precious time and taxpayer dollars, bending the knee to Donald Trump and ripping away the voice of the voters. It is shameful. It is pathetic. You are shameful. You are pathetic.
He actually speaks at a lot of legislative hearings. That's his general style.
I thought it. Yeah, I thought it was like a old time pastor thing. And now Sydney Batch, I've helped campaigns run against her before successfully. I didn't call her Batch.
I'm sure you didn't.
No, I did not. So she's a race baiter. She got into it with Phil Berger today and openly said, I'm a black woman. I'm being treated differently. I have to tell you something. People are sick and they're tired.
In the Senate. How are you treating differently?
Well, she lost against Aaron Paré 4 years ago, and was appointed by Dan Blue, and then she won the last one. But this whole thing of I'm a black woman and this is racist. I'm not sure how well that's going to play. I think people have real problems with themselves.
We're sick of the racist word. You can only use that word so much, and they've overplayed their hand with it.
Well,
here she is. The clip.
Yeah, here she is talking about DEI. So,
and let's be very clear. Republicans always say they don't like DEI. But let me tell you, please. Political gerrymandering is their DEI. It's the only damn way that they would serve in that chamber.
Right.
So let's call them out. Let's show up.
Okay, she's saying that gerrymandering is our DEI, and she's trying to make the case. I don't think she does successfully that. We here have as many votes as they do in the General Assembly if you added them up. Well, look, I mean, there are a concentration of certain voters that congregate in Wake County, where I am and where she is. They congregate in Mecklenburg County. They're congregating in Guilford County, and they happen to vote a certain way. I'm not saying what color. I don't care what color. But leftists seem to congregate in certain areas. And guess what? Democrats will overperform in that certain area. And she wants to say that just because we get, and I don't know if this is true, as many votes overall, that why do we even need districts?
Well, listen, here's the thing I have to say to Ms. Batch. For 140 plus years, you all held the maps and you didn't whine and complain about DEI and all your bullshit then. Yep. But now that we got the maps and we got Article 2, 3, and 1 on our side in the North Carolina Constitution, sit down and take your medicine, Sydney. Shut your mouth.
Damn. I've never heard you that fired up.
Well, this whole racist thing, I'm over it. I'm just over it. I started thinking about it and I applied it to the whole school methodology. Remember when you may not because I'm a little older than you. I remember when they said to my high school, Ragsdale High School in Jamestown, we have to change your district because you don't have enough black kids in
Yeah,
your
they're
school.
still doing that.
Yeah. Well, this is no different. Why do you have to change the district to make sure people get in a certain group they're not even in, they don't live in, they don't want to be in? That is racist to do that. It's racist to take
And then
people
you have,
out of your community and say, no, no.
and then it's not permanent because in 10 years, the demographic may change.
Well, and somebody made that point to me today on X. They were like, you're not going to like it when the tables turn. Let me just say this out loud so everybody hears me clearly. The reason we're doing this is so the tables don't turn for probably the rest of my lifetime.
Well, I did not like the idea of redistricting for a quid pro quo favor to Phil Berger because obviously I don't want him elected again. There are other reasons why that it is good, but for that reason, I did not, and I do not. But
listen, I have a love-hate relationship with Senator Berger. I think he's done some good things. I think this was a very ballsy move. Good job on that. I'm going to give him some kudos where he deserves them. Do I want casinos in the rest of the state? Absolutely not. I do not want you giving competition to the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians where I live in my community. Do I want marijuana to be legalized in the state? I do not. So and there are some things I don't like. Endorsing Democrats, I didn't appreciate that. Senator Berger.
Yeah,
and I also don't appreciate the way that you have nepotized the entire Rockingham County area. I don't appreciate those things. And the fact that you represent my former district where I live in Jamestown, I'm sorry, but I'm probably not going to stand up for you. But I'm going to give you some kudos on this one. I love the way you played that hand because you and I, we have a mutual enemy that would be in the District 3. So thank you for that.
Well, there's some inside baseball if I ever saw it. Now, I think if you're the most powerful, highest ranking Republican in the state of North Carolina and you're backing Democrats for office, to me, that's a no-go.
Yeah.
That's disloyal. And to me, and they did it one time, stocking your office full of far leftists that come out and attack your constituents. I don't like it. But anyway, I'm not going to beat it down. I'm not going to dwell. I'm going to move on. Okay, so Terrence Everett's lost his ever-loving mind and said he's a senator. He is a senator in Wake. Here he is talking third person. So that caught my attention. And then he's talking about you could not wait to get on your knees for POTUS. Now, there's only one interpretation of that. It's not to beg, not in this instance. It's to.
It sounds like he's got good practice in doing that.
I mean, yeah. And so somebody made a good point. Why am I just talking about the men? It's true. There are some women there are some female colleagues that would not like this. I found it to be exceptionally tacky. Speaking of exceptionally tacky, here again is Mecklenburg.
Who's this guy?
This
guy.
Is
that nut job that went after Eric Stevenson.
Yes. He's a racist. Yeah. And calling the colleagues the fucking losers, complete control of the federal government and felon in the White House. But he never called this guy a fucking loser. This is another one of his colleagues. How come he never called Cecil Brockman, who has been accused of sex crimes with a 15-year-old? Why didn't we ever hear him call him a fucking loser?
Why didn't he ask him about being on his knees? I'm sorry, but like, if you want to do that kind of stuff, buddy, I'm going to give it right back at you. And clearly that's something you're obsessed about because you put it in print.
I mean, so I put up a post that said, okay, so this afternoon we had a Democratic senator accuse his colleagues of lining up to give the president oral. And then we've got this guy calling them fucking losers. I mean, these people are not really fit to lead here.
They're the antithesis. Listen, they're exactly what your mama used to say when you were a kid. Whatever they say they want from you, they are. And they're living that example. So I just think that gentleman's probably a closet homosexual, and I'm just going to help you out and accuse you of it. It's alleged, but it's a possibility. And listen, the Lopez gentleman, Jordan Lopez, I think that's his name. He's just a whiner. He can't come to the table.
Whiner.
He
Yeah.
cannot come to the table with anything sound. So he reverts back to what he sounded like when he was in junior high.
Yeah. He's not fit to lead. Now the Cecil Brockman, we do have an update. This I find interesting. So we're going to hyperbole. Okay. So Speaker Hall says he's going to put together a bipartisan panel to investigate the charges against Cecil Brockman. So he's going to do his own investigation, Margot. What does this mean?
Well, I honestly think that's a great idea. Let me tell you why. I find it highly suspicious that the mayor of High Point, who has to be friends in some respects to Cecil Brockman, hasn't said a word. The SBI has been called in, and the Democrats are all about getting Cecil Brockman out. But the Republicans are like, what about justice? What about, innocent until proven guilty? It feels very odd. So I'm really glad he's doing that. By the way, we just got some breaking news, and it has to do with District 1. Just thought I'd let you know. It says, this is from Lori Buckout, who ran against Don Davis in District 1 and took a job on Trump's cabinet, or in his cabinet, but not an appointed position, not a position that needed to go before Congress. It says, dear friends, I'm stepping down from the position of Assistant National Cyber Director for Policy. It's a very difficult position, but health and family need to take a priority at this time. I'm incredibly grateful to have had this wonderful opportunity to have the chance to work with such dedicated professionals. I look forward to working part-time on some exciting projects in the future. That sounds like there's something going on. I just want to say to Ms. Buckout, Colonel Buckout, I hope you're well. That's all that matters.
I do too, but
interesting timing though. The district she ran against him. She's stepping down, but she can work part-time. That literally just came out.
No, I mean, obviously, we don't know what's going on. We've heard this. We've been hearing this stuff for a long time. I remember what's his name? The guy out east. Actually, I don't like him. Jim Perry came up with this stuff. Family members sick, whatever, maybe. But it just so happened that he needed to wait out the 6-month revolving door lobby policy. And at the 6-month point, damn if he didn't step in to be a lobbyist. So
we wouldn't step back in to run at 11 plus our Republican district. She lost her ass in that last one. Not really. I mean, really, she gave him a valiant fight, 1.63%, something like that. So, I mean, it would be very, I think that's an interesting timing considering what we're doing right now, talking about this district. And she can still work part-time.
I'm going to keep it real. I wouldn't mind if Greg Murphy had a challenger or 2 or 3.
I'm not a Greg Murphy fan.
Me
at
either.
all.
Now, I don't like doctors. First of all, I don't like doctors in office. I'm sorry. Ben Carson, but he was appointed.
Apologize for that.
I don't, because what they do is some shady shit, and the white coat syndrome is very, very real. And they get up in front of their colleagues and say, oh, you can trust me. This is a great bill. And then you open the door for anti-Semites to come in here and treat patients, just like Timothy Reeder did, just like Grant Campbell did. So I don't like that.
Well, 2 things I don't like about him. 3. First is he sponsored Lori Buckout, which I didn't think she was a great candidate. She's not from North Carolina. I don't like people that lie and say they're from a state when they're not. You didn't grow up on a farm in North Carolina. You grew up on a farm in Virginia, and you're really from Minnesota. Secondly, and he did that like long time before the election ever came up. I really didn't like the way that was handled. I didn't like his policies on COVID. He's a COVIDiot. And then thirdly, I truly didn't appreciate his stance on residency requirements in the North Carolina bill that we've been working on. He actually stuck his foot in the dog shit, and I didn't appreciate that either.
Yeah, he had a tweet that really got ratioed, and it was about the thesis was, hey, folks, let me tell you, as a doctor, being a doctor is no longer a job that Americans are willing to do. And by gum, we just need H-1B workers in here. We need more of that. That really was the precursor to me looking into what had been passed in North Carolina in H-67. And by the way, out there, Republicans, I mean, we love you, but I'm telling you, we're going to keep you accountable, and you got to get rid of this bill. The bill is total shit.
Well, I'm just going to tangent off this one more time, then we're going to get back on task and say, listen, Greg Murphy is in a position to do really big things for North Carolina in that respect. He could be the one that champions opening slots. He could be the one to say we need to open them another medical school. He could be the one to say, give these young kids an opportunity. Why don't you give them, 1 year? If they stay out for 1 year before they match, they get the credit. But instead, he folds like a damn lawn chair, a cheap one.
Yeah. Yes. And that's our problem with them. So let's move on to taking out Democrats, because that's the real problem in this state happens to be Democrats. So there is a guy that I want to tell you about. This is, look, we're hearing every day, unfortunately, that Democrat violence. It is not in places like California. It is not in far off places like New York. It's right here in North Carolina with people we like in Lexington, North Carolina. Here is a gentleman who is an artist. I love this. He does it full time. He loves this. Kendrick Joby. Okay. Lexington, North Carolina. That's right outside of Winston-Salem. I love it. Here he is. He's teaching art.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he really does it. He's in the community. He just so happens to enjoy drawing portraits, damn good ones, of Donald Trump, our president. And he does it in the same place on the weekends, gets donations. You see him in New York City, like we used to, by Central Park, whatever. And he's our very own version of like a street artist. But this weekend, where he was, this No Kings protest came into his area, and a couple of guys started, just verbally berating him, harassing him, and even fighting with him. I'm going to show this. And our guy is the closest one to us, and watch him. This guy, he squares up on him. Not bad. Look, squares up, and he drops his hands, and he had to knock the shit out of him. If you see, let's go again. When he drops his hands, at that point, he can turn and walk away. Watch this. Drop his hands, but the guy comes at him. Look, comes at him. He had to defend himself. And now, leftists, of course, probably progressive white women, are telling the black man that, oh, well, you shouldn't have been there. You are the problem. You shouldn't have been there drawing paintings of Donald Trump.
This is very common. I've seen several videos this weekend where white men and women are explaining to black people how come they're wrong for voting for whomever they choose to, and taking violence to some of them with regard to their decisions. And to me, that's completely racist. If you're going to single somebody out because of their color and try to educate them about their particular stance on a politician, how absolutely racist are you?
Well, we're really seeing a lot of who the racists are, and unfortunately, the term is so overblown or so overused as to not have any material weight to it at all anymore. I wanted to show you. Here's how Ken took it. By the way, if you don't follow Ken, there's his handle on X. Do follow him. He's also on Facebook. I loved his response. We will never be censored or bullied into being something else. I love my country and I love to paint. Our future is bright. God is good. We must show kids that war is not the answer. Work hard and you can achieve anything regardless of what you look like or where you live.
Good message. What a great message. Not one word about color.
Well, now you can see why that would piss off the left.
No, what pisses them off is that he didn't coddle to what they wanted him to. He didn't say, you work hard as a black man, and he didn't use any of that language because that's a social construct. He is a good-hearted person who looks at individuals and says, work hard.
Yeah, that is a uniquely American message.
It is. It's a beautiful message. Makes me want to drive over to Lexington and buy a painting.
Oh, I know. It's not a far drive from me at all. And
Right now.
so you should follow him. You should support him. We're probably going to have him on the show, but I mean, he squared off and somebody got their ass beat. And by the way,
It
I
wasn't
love
him.
to see it. I love to see it. I was just telling you off the air. Used to be when you walked up and talked shit to a man
Or a
who's-
woman.
well, a man in particular who's
Yeah.
minding their own business and called them everything but a child of God, you would get your ass beat.
I think somebody in that clip is learning the lesson that people still believe in, taking care of their own.
Right. I mean, you come up to somebody and say fighting words, used to be. And then, you know what? The much more civil society back then. Did you notice that? Because you wouldn't
Yeah.
dream of walking up to somebody and calling them horrible things.
How many children do you know 10, 15 years ago that knew anything about politics or what their teacher was as far as persuasion of what politics they chose? Or, to be honest with you, when did you ever hear church talk about X feeds and, being on social media? That is not normal. It's not normal what we're seeing and how obsessed people are with politics. And it's really all because of Donald Trump, to be honest.
Right. And it's sheer hatred. And we're going to get to that in the next one. This little feller, 5'6", bless his pea picking heart, was in Swain County.
Which is way up here in the mountains.
Swain County. But I guess he stood on somebody's shoulders. I don't know. Picked a guy's Trump sign down, but it got really bad because look, he drove away. Do you see him pointing his 9 out of the window and shooting several rounds into this house?
So what's interesting to me about this, before we get into the rest of the story, is Swain County is where the Cherokee Indian, the major Qualla boundary is. He's damn lucky he wasn't on federal property. He'd be in federal prison, federal jail right now if he were. I mean, and it's not hard to determine. It's pretty hard to determine when you're on the Qualla boundary where you are in comparison to, you know what I mean? Because it's all, most of Swain is part of the Qualla boundary.
So there is a law that I believe passed with bipartisan support. I don't know if it's enacted in law, and that's very rare for us not to know. But it's dealing with political violence and making the charges steeper. This is an actual case of that. So it may be the first test of this. I believe the law sets out bodily harm. It may be, I mean, if you're shooting into someone's home, how the hell is that not attempted murder?
Well, and here's what I would hope. My opinion is, I certainly hope that Russ Ferguson, the Western federal prosecutor, because this gentleman is not from North Carolina, he's from Georgia, and he came across state lines and did this. I hope Russ prosecutes him federally. The charges would be much more harsh, and he would spend a lot more time in jail. You don't just pull your gun out and think you're going to get away with it in North Carolina.
That's unbelievable. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. So here's something else that happened up your way. Benefactor put up a lot of Charlie Kirk signs up in Western North Carolina, which, by the way, is their right to do, right? And it has been vandalized. And I think this is the second instance of this happening.
It's the first one in Asheville that I know, in the Buncombe County, Asheville area, but that they have been vandalizing things up this way. And it's clear, listen, we all know Buncombe County has a lot of Looney Tunes. It's known to be the San Francisco of the South, but we're not used to seeing so much of the violence. Usually they just take a terrible picture of Madison Cawthorn and put it up and say terrible things. But this vandalism is not normal, not specifically normal.
Well, it's definitely ramping up, and it's been tolerated. And that's
the police force is woke.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not talking about just the city council is woke. We're talking about everybody. You have to remember, Asheville is the one that sent out the word through their city council that their police were only going to answer specific crime calls for a while there. Remember, if you got robbed, tough luck. You weren't getting no cops coming out to you. You just call 911. They'll take a report. They're not coming out. But if you maybe got raped or there was a murder, they might come out. But if you got a break in your house or robbery or a fight, just call it and report.
So they're anti-gun as well, meaning.
Oh, absolutely. They're anti everything to do with law enforcement.
But wait a minute. Okay. If you're going to give me permit, you're going to say, like my police force here has said to me, we're not going to protect you. They have said that, right? With actions. We're not going to protect you. You're on your own, right? And if they were to double down and say, plus, we don't think you should have a gun, that means you want me dead.
Oh, they absolutely do not care about their citizenry. Listen, Asheville is the whole reason that we had Hurricane Helene. I don't want to get into it because that's not what this is about, but we will do a story on that.
Yeah, it's very bad. But continuing on with the victims of Democrat policies, and we're going to really hammer down on this. This son of a bitch came in to the U.S. He entered in under Obama. Was previously deported. Then he's deported in 2020 under Trump. Then he came back in, okay, legally or illegally. So if you choose someone for breaking your house, just call the morgue. Yeah, Carol, that's what I would say. I would say, look, come pick this guy up that broke into my house while I was here, right? And bring an ambulance, right? And this guy who'd been arrested for multiple DUIs, killed this gentleman who's in Durham and who leaves behind 11 kids and grandkids.
Wow.
It was a DUI hit and run, massive history of DUI. U.S. Immigration Customs, they've lodged a detainer with local authorities to prevent him from moving. But this is systemic failures and deliberate failures. So, yeah. This is insane. This is a frontline failure is what it is. And it's deliberate and it's willful.
Yeah. I mean, I really can't add anything to that. That breaks my heart for that family.
Well, this is another one.
So there's that trash bag.
This son of a bitch is charged with, this is a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. A 9-year-old and 7-year-old. I believe one of the charges is rape.
Yeah, that's in Macon County, which is right. That's where Highlands Cashiers and Franklin, North Carolina are, right on the border of Georgia and North Carolina. Very, very disgusting story. Yeah, I saw that one.
Right. And so, we think of the illegals being exclusively in
metro areas.
Right, which has its fair share. But they are all over rural North Carolina. I'm telling you, we have a serious, horrific epidemic, and we have got to do something about it. Look, I mean, this House bill, this illegal, actually, we're just going to put up the video. This bill was just enacted on October 1st. I want you to listen to what it is.
Status. Jail officials must verify the status. Anyone shoplifting, whatever it is, you steal a pack of gum, because you don't know, right? They could have a kidnapped girl in the back of their car. ICE detainer process may be held up to, I don't like the may be held. Their ass must be held. And actually, I think the federal bill is must be held.
It is must be.
Okay. That makes more sense. Judicial oversight. A judge must verify the detainer matches the individual and improve the hold before release. Pretrial hold, 2-hour applies to pretrial, et cetera, et cetera. It's really a timing game, Margo, making sure that ICE has enough time to get there, right? So here's what it does. Flags illegal aliens. We have to have that in sanctuary cities. Enforces the law on the books. How about that one?
Hold those chairs accountable. That's what we need to do. They're not going to do it themselves.
Okay. So this is common sense, right? This is common sense, except for here's what Democrats did. Now, this is the reason they are not fit to lead in the Senate. Not one North Carolina Democrat in the Senate voted for this bill. We just showed you a multiple child rapist and an innocent man killed by a repeat offender DUI. That's just from the last 2 days of the stories. They voted to let these people keep coming in, and then only one rep, Carla Cunningham of Mecklenburg County, Democrat, voted for it. And remember the hell that she got. Oh, and who vetoed it? Well, let me show you. Our governor vetoed it. Keeping people safe is not a partisan issue. You just saw the votes. Keeping people safe is a partisan issue. And guess who the party is that wants to keep people safe?
Not the Democrats.
No, you look at the party line vote.
Right.
So already that is utter bullshit. And
look.
Not to trigger you.
But you might.
But I might. This might be a real triggering, because this is right after the equity task force, which he engineered, was put into play, which, by the way, is seeing no money bail. It's seeing revolving door. It's seeing violent crime being treated, hold your laughter, as a public health epidemic.
I know, and a racial issue, which is really stupid. Here's the one person that you don't hear anything about this from, and that's the current attorney general, who falls right in, line with Roy Cooper and Josh Stein. He would much rather worry about solar panels and EPA lawsuits than to talk or help us with the crime in the area that he came from.
I think murder and rape is a public health issue at this point. It's
I do too.
Epidemic. I mean, it is a true epidemic.
I agree.
Especially in Charlotte. This guy, children are our future. Well, what about the 2 children who were raped by an illegal, by the way, that you voted didn't have to adhere to an ICE detainer? The sheriff didn't have to adhere to it. What about that?
Well, I mean, listen, I think the one thing that having the congressional delegation come down and take testimony, the one thing we learned from that and after that is there's clearly an issue with bail. And it's not just in North Carolina, but we are acutely familiar with it in the Charlotte area. I am really, after we saw the whole testimony from Mary Collins' grandmother, it really bothered me. I read a lot about her, Mary Collins. I did not know that she had a learning disability. I did not realize that, she had some challenges of her own. She really wanted to be liked and love people. And to know that one of the people that allegedly killed her, America Dahl, was out on bail with an ankle monitor, staying at her grandma's house in South Carolina, went back to court, got the ankle monitor removed, and has no bail and gets to go home to her grandma's house while Mary Collins is dead and her grandma has no one. That just happened in the last 2 weeks, and it's just disgusting.
It is. And now we're seeing that DeCarlos Brown Jr., the animal that was caught on video murdering Irina Zaruska, his death penalty trial is delayed till sometime next year.
Of course it is.
He should be in a wood chipper by the end of business tomorrow.
Right. Honestly, I would like to see the feds step into Charlotte and fix it, because we have a moron for a sheriff there who's more concerned about where his suit is made from and who he's going to piss off at his office.
You said that 2 days ago. Apparently, ICE went in to extend an olive branch. You know where I'd like them to put that olive branch? Sideways.
An olive branch for what? Because the sheriff will allow them.
Pretty please, would you please adhere to the law that makes you hold illegals for 48 hours? Would you please cooperate with ICE? I cannot believe what I'm reading. In Charlotte.
Listen, it's going to come down to, it's not going to be the governor. It's going to be the legislature that passes some kind of special bill that says ICE can come into North Carolina and do whatever they have to do, because they've already passed a bill. It's not working. The governor's not going to enact them coming. We're going to end up having to do some things that alleviate the responsibility, create fines, do something to get these sheriffs to do their damn job. But you know what? Here's the good news. He's gone next year. And there's no way he's getting
What's the body count before then? What's the body count? What's the amount of children raped. I mean, this makes me
Furious.
So speaking of Charlotte and the revolving door, this son of a bitch shot a 3-year-old child. Now, thank the Lord, the child looks like the child will be okay. Got shot in the spine. We don't know if the child will ever be able to walk again. A judge said $500,000 secured bond. Look at how many times this reprobate has been arrested. By the way, if you're on X, it's the same story 5 times a day, every day in Charlotte now.
It is. It is. And what's really interesting is that's just what we're highlighting in Charlotte. We're not talking about what's going on in Durham, in Greensboro, in Raleigh, in Buncombe County, in Asheville. We're not, or even in Wilmington.
Well, Charlotte, has dominated the news. I mean, here's another one. In the last couple of days, how in the hell?
111 arrests.
How in the hell? I think the kid is 17 years old.
I'm gonna have to do some ciphering like Jethro right now. Just a second.
So
Just give me a second.
We kind of need a 3 strikes you're out in Charlotte or in every city. I don't understand how this is possible. I don't understand it at all. The only good news that is going on, I thought our audience would appreciate this. So Stephen Stiller at Tunnel to Towers is proposing a project in Charlotte. The Charlotte City Council is going to vote on it tonight. It's a conversion of Sonesta Extended Stay in Southwest Charlotte into apartments for veterans. This is a sample of what it could look like. And I'm just thinking, I know it may be disabled vets, but you get a bunch of vets. Let's say you get 300 to 500 vets there, and maybe, I don't know,
The whole dynamic of the area.
They can have some sort of police force or something, peacekeeping. You can call them a peacekeeping force, but
maybe they incorporate and call themselves a town.
Okay, sure, but maybe they're going to be,
A force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
in a good way, in a positive way.
So this weekend we're in Charlotte. Sean, me, some others. We had a great group of people. We did door knocking for several hours for several candidates. This was the whole crew. And then these are the candidates I took a picture with who were actually running. So to my right, I'm in the orange. To my right is Jamie Daniel, she's on the GOP. I think she's running for something as well. But to my left, you're going to see Terry Donovan. She's running, obviously, for mayor. So that is November 4th. And behind her is Ed Peacock. Ed is currently serving on Charlotte City Council. He definitely needs backup. He needs Krista Bukhari elected and a couple of others. There's a guy running for school board here. There's actually 2. The lady in the pink, she is Lisa Klein is the only Republican on the school board right now in Charlotte.
Wow.
Yeah, and needs to stay there. And so we went out, we hit all these doors, beautiful day. We talked to a lot of voters, and it was really funny because they put me in the Jewish area. They wanted me to go knock that. Yeah.
That's great.
So
and while you were in Charlotte, I was in Raleigh doing some bill-a-ticking. That's what I'll call it. Politicking for some bills, which we're going to see forthcoming here shortly. They're going to make some huge changes when it comes to things that happen online. And I know that you and I and many others will be very glad to see that, an anti-swatting law, which we desperately need in North Carolina, changes to cyber stalking, cyber harassment, and cyberbullying, those kinds of things. And, the last thing I left with is why is North Carolina only one of 7 states that doesn't have anti-slap laws? And I got the eyebrow lift, which was, oh, we'll do that next.
Well, being a public figure in general is difficult. When you show your face and it's matched with your ideas, people are not going to like it. I've been very forthcoming about my being stalked for a couple of years from people on the right. So the people who have come after me have been on the
Same.
right.
Mine, same. The people that come after me maliciously prosecuting me for something that I did not
Yes.
do, they are also on the right.
Right. And so, and that's pure jealousy. So that's because there are people that I don't know why they don't want to put the work in to do stuff themselves, and they don't like what you have to say, or that you have the gall to say it, actually, right? And so that's kind of what happens. So you are, yeah. I mean, you know, the people shown here, you know, us, we're just regular people. You know, Sean shows his face. He has a hard time. I show mine. But a lot of people, they don't want to come out and do pocket. They don't want to do voter education, because when they do, or even lead in the GOP, because when they do,
They get castigated.
Look,
and harassment is real.
And the threat is real. I mean, I had a bunch of neo-Nazis come after me. I've had one very publicly come after me for years, watches everything I do, probably watching right now. And I appreciate the General Assembly putting laws out there that will protect public figures against what we've gone through.
I don't think it's just public figures. We really, look, I'm concerned about children too. You know, part of what I'm trying to do is to mitigate the AI things that are about to take place and help.
Wait, with this bill though, with this particular bill or another one?
With this, it's called the Cyber Protection Act. It's going to have all of these things in it.
Tell me the other facets. Okay, that's cool.
So, you know, just cyber harassment, cyber bullying, cyber stalking. It ups the penalties. It's going to be a felony, a class 3 felony to cyber stalk. But I think I look at things like, listen, we're adults. We've kind of handled our situations and are still handling them, and we'll continue to handle them. But children don't have the same maturity. They don't have the same skill sets. They don't have the ability. And I'll give you the story that I heard, and I know a young girl, someone took her face from here up and put it on a naked body of I don't know what, through AI, and distributed it, and it caused her to almost commit suicide.
Oh my God. I think we already have a bill. I think we passed a bill earlier for that, right?
Well, yeah, but the challenge with this is it wasn't done by another child. It was done by an adult.
Okay.
So the penalties, you know, there's age doesn't matter. If you do this kind of stuff, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. You may get one reprieve, but you're going on the list, and
Carol,
past offenses.
Okay, Carol. Well, okay, so there was a case out of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And a psychiatrist, a child psychiatrist, did this to patients.
Yeah.
Did this to patients, to children.
Right.
I think
this is devastating to a young woman who's an adult as it is to a child.
Oh my God.
That was the point that I was making to the legislative body is, look, this age is not an issue. Elderly people get cyber harassed. They get cyber stalked. You know, children get it. There's not an age on this.
Okay, so this will be comprehensive and not targeted just to public figures. It will be targeted to criminals of all kinds, no matter their victims. And that's good.
And there's also an anti-doxing part of it. So the new parts are anti-doxing and swatting. Those are the new parts of the legislation.
Yeah, that's been
the rest
difficult.
of them are actually making changes in a positive way to align with how fast, you know, things are changing in the cyber world.
Yeah, that's very terrifying. I know that people have forged things of mine, and I never thought about what you just told me. That is crazy.
Horrible. It's horrible. But you know what? Here's the overarching theme is we're all working. You are, I am. We work together. Even if I'm not there, I am doing something. Even if you're not with me, we are working together. We coordinate. We speak every day on things. And this is a joint effort with a lot of other people behind us to make this happen on both sides, whether you're in Charlotte on the ground or at the legislature.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, we have to get out from behind our desks. I've had a lot of people criticize me about, and they're on the right, about being a journalist. How are you a journalist? You're actually, you know, knocking on doors. You're actually at protests. You're actually, I mean, I guess they have am I supposed to say just behind my screen? So I guess I am a journalist and an activist, right?
How about shut up and just mind your own business and let us do what we do and you do what you do?
Yeah, I like that answer better.
Listen, I don't feel like I owe anybody an explanation about what I do. I'm done talking about, who I am and what I do. You think you know, go right ahead and think you know. You don't know me.
Yeah. Well, most journalists do sit behind the screen and they don't get active. And I used to do that for a number of years. And you know what? You write something, you put it out into the ether, and you never know if it really made a difference. Well, I got tired of that. So I decided to take it up a level, and I started doing. And I'm saying
you do it fabulously.
Well, thank you.
Like some of the things I've learned because of you going in a courtroom or going to a campus or just being in DC for something. But I personally don't feel like I need to coddle anybody who questions what I'm doing. Get out of my face.
Yeah, Cajun agrees with you. Yeah, you're right. And, and if you see me on X, a lot of the times I'll answer things, outrageous questions like up yours, and that's usually my answer. But no, I take questions about journalism seriously because, again, you're supposed to be detached from certain stories, right?
Right.
So, but anyway,
here we are.
I appreciate you so much, and
you too.
I'm excited about Thursday night. So definitely tune in. Share this with 10 people. And there's been so much drama. I can only imagine what's coming down the pipe.
I know we're going to get a lot more video of whiners, guaranteed on Wednesday. On Thursday, bring your wine glass because you could probably take a drink for every wine we'll see from a Democrat.
You're gonna see some leftist tears and a good amount of them. So get ready.
Have a good evening, Sloan.
Have a good evening. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.